Hi there, and welcome to our philosophical discussion on existentialism. We will be reviewing Jean-Paul Sartre. He had a very specific way of defining existentialism, but who was he? For us, existentialism is a philosophical inquiry which takes as its starting point the experience of the human subject. Not the thinking subject, but the acting, feeling, living human individual.
Jean-Paul Sartre was a French writer and philosopher who had a particular conception about the ideology of existentialism. In his theory, he states that existence precedes essence. Men exist before becoming anything, and so their existence precedes their essence. To give meaning to our own lives is by existing and acting in certain ways. Because there is not a specific say on how humans should behave, there is no God to give us a purpose in life. The lack of a given purpose presents us choices that help us create that essence. We are free to choose what we want to become, to create ourselves these attributes, the so-called anguish of freedom. According to Sartre, if there is no God, everything is permitted. There is no restriction at all, and we're both anguished and responsible, but undeniably free.
We are condemned to be free. We always choose. Even when we decide not to choose, we choose. We have the burden and responsibility to choose the meaning and purpose of our own lives, but also the consequences. We can't escape from responsibility because if we try to, we fall in bad faith. This freedom is what gives us a sense of emptiness, that our lives only matter if we enforce a meaning upon it. We are condemned to be free because we are not created like a knife with a purpose, an explicit meaning. If God doesn't exist, everything is allowed because there is not God that prevents us from doing what we want, when we want. But if God doesn't exist, who are we to decide what is moral and immoral? How can we choose to do good when it's not defined what is good and what is bad? Maybe it's better to be condemned to be free than condemned to be the puppet of God.
Bad faith, also known as mauvaise foi in Jean-Paul Sartre's original language, is the habit of people to betray themselves and to think they do not have the freedom to make choices due to the fear of the possible or coming consequences. It is a way of evading the responsibility of discovering one's authentic self. Sometimes when people adapt this idea of not having freedom to make choices, they accept social roles and value systems. For example, a waiter in a cafe, all he does is do his best to match with what a waiter should be. His excessive behavior, moving quick and very precise, is an evidence that he is doing a role play of being a waiter. As an actor plays a role in a movie, his essence is to be a waiter. As he tries to commit fully to the role he's playing, the idea of being more than a waiter will frustrate him. For example, freedom is inherited to humans, but this freedom has responsibilities, thus it becomes like a burden for people. Here's why bad faith helps refuse the responsibility and pretend to deny the idea of his or her freedom.
Freedom of an individual to pursue personal essence exhibits antisocial essence in his humanistic existentialism. In terms of interpersonal relationships, his point of view of an existentialist individual is extremely pessimistic and leads to the idea of a man who's not meant for community life, friendship, trust, or cooperation. Adding that, as Sartre said, man is condemned to be free. No restraints for choices can result in disadvantages for societies. This implies complications to pursue collective goals. Surely, it is not possible to have viable ethics in a climate where domination of the other person and subordination of his freedom to ours is the overriding factor. Even though Sartre's social theory can be quite unrealistic of the human existence, we can learn that it is ourselves who decide how to interpret the signs of the world and what is their meaning, and also learn from his idea of being free to decide what is good for us, and act being true to our beliefs without pretending that the world will adapt to our will.